From the moment early humans first gazed up at the night sky, they were captivated by its endless mysteries. The stars weren't just distant lights, they were maps, calendars, and even messages from the gods. Across deserts, jungles, and mountaintops, our ancestors built astonishing structures to track celestial movements with breathtaking precision. Yet, despite centuries of study, many of these ancient astronomical sites still hold secrets that baffle even today's brightest minds. What if I told you that some of humanity's oldest observatories were so advanced, we're only beginning to understand their true purpose? Hidden in plain sight, these 25 enigmatic locations reveal a sophistication that challenges everything we thought we knew about early civilizations. Picture standing at the foot of a massive stone circle, its alignment matching the summer solstice sunrise with eerie accuracy. Or imagine deciphering carvings that predicted lunar eclipses centuries before modern astronomy existed. These aren't just relics of the past, they're proof of a forgotten genius, a time when humans wielded knowledge so profound, it still sparks debate among scholars. How did cultures separated by continents and millennia achieve such precise astronomical feats without telescopes or computers? The answers might lie in the very stones they left behind, whispering clues across thousands of years. This journey isn't just about ancient ruins, it's about unraveling the boundless curiosity that connects us to those who came before. Every alignment, every shadow, every carefully placed marker tells a story of obsession, innovation, and perhaps even a shared longing to touch the cosmos. As we explore these 25 misunderstood marvels, you'll discover how our ancestors turned the heavens into their greatest classroom. Some mysteries may never be solved, but that's what makes them irresistible. So let's step into the past together, where the sky wasn't a limit, it was the ultimate guide. Standing silently on England's Salisbury Plain, Stonehenge has watched the skies for over 4,000 years. Its towering stone sentinels, arranged with almost impossible precision, have sparked endless debates. What was this colossal structure really built to do? Modern research reveals that its alignments aren't random. They mirror the sun's path at the solstices, with the heel stone marking the exact spot where the summer sun rises. But it goes deeper. Some researchers argue the monuments in a bluestones track the moon's extreme positions during its 18.6-year cycle, hinting at a lunar calendar far more sophisticated than we once imagined. Could Stonehenge have been an ancient eclipse calculator? The Aubrey holes, 56 mysterious pits encircling the site, might hold the answer when markers were moved between them. They could predict lunar eclipses with startling accuracy. Then there's the puzzle of how it was built. The smaller bluestones were hauled over 140 miles from Wales, while the massive sarcens weigh up to 30 tons each. Without wheels or metal tools, how did Neolithic people transport and lift these monoliths? Experiments suggest sledges, ropes, and ingenious counterweight systems, but the truth remains elusive. Even more intriguing is why they chose this location. Beneath the surface lies a network of ancient ley lines and burial mounds, suggesting Stonehenge was more than an observatory. It was a sacred crossroads between earth and sky. The cultural significance is just as layered. For centuries, it was dismissed as a Druid temple, but radiocarbon dating proves it predates them by millennia. New theories connect it to ancestor worship, healing rituals, or even a unifying pilgrimage site for scattered Neolithic tribes. Every winter solstice, thousands still gather to witness the sunrise alignments, continuing a tradition as old as the stones themselves. Stonehenge's true purpose may never be fully unlocked, but one thing is clear: this wasn't just a celestial calculator. It was a bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds, a testament to humanity's eternal hunger to understand the cosmos. While Stonehenge's solar and lunar alignments are world-famous, few realize its stones may also whisper secrets about the stars. Recent laser scans of the monument's surface uncovered faint carvings hidden for millennia, spirals, dagger shapes, and arc-like markings some researchers believe could map constellations or planetary movements. One striking theory suggests the four station stones form a rectangle aligning with the rising and setting points of distant stars like Sirius and Aldebaran, celestial beacons crucial to ancient agricultural calendars. But the real breakthrough came when archaeologists noticed something astonishing about the monument's orientation. The avenue leading to Stonehenge doesn't just point to the summer solstice sunrise. It also aligns with the setting of the bright star Capella around 3200 BC, a time when the monument's earliest phase was being built. This isn't random. Capella's heliacal setting marked the start of harvest season for Neolithic farmers. Even more remarkably, the cursus, a massive earthwork northeast of the stones, frames the northernmost moonrise, while the smaller Woodhenge nearby tracks Venus' 8-year cycle through its post-hole alignments. These celestial connections reveal a sophistication we're only beginning to decode. The sarsen surfaces show where patterns indicating they were frequently adjusted, possibly to refine alignments as generations of sky watchers honed their knowledge. Some carvings even resemble the Pleiades cluster, which ancient cultures worldwide associated with planting cycles. What if Stonehenge wasn't just a calendar, but a grand celestial library carved in stone? Every new discovery suggests our ancestors saw the night sky not as a backdrop, but as a living map, one they studied with tools and intellect we're still struggling to comprehend. The implications rewrite history. If these alignments were intentional, it means Neolithic builders tracked celestial movements across generations with jaw-dropping accuracy, passing down knowledge through oral traditions we can scarcely imagine. Stonehenge's greatest mystery isn't how they moved these stones, but how they mapped the heavens without writing, turning earth and sky into a single, sacred compass. Far across the Irish Sea, another ancient marvel holds secrets just as profound as Stonehenge, the massive, mound-shaped tomb of Newgrange. Built over 5,000 years ago, this Neolithic masterpiece isn't just a burial site, it's a meticulously engineered celestial clock. Every year, as winter's grip tightens, something magical happens. At dawn on the winter solstice, a single shaft of sunlight pierces through a narrow roof box above the entrance, creeping down the long, dark passageway until it floods the inner chamber with golden light. This isn't random, it's a feat of astronomical precision that would challenge modern architects. The entire structure is angled at exactly 23.5 degrees, matching the Earth's axial tilt, ensuring this solar alignment occurs like clockwork. How did Stone Age builders achieve such accuracy without writing or advanced tools? The answer lies in generations of sky watching. The tomb's corridor points directly to the sunrise's southernmost position on the horizon, a point that only aligns perfectly during the solstice. Even more astonishing, the light doesn't just enter, it's funneled. The roof box narrows the beam, creating a dramatic effect where the chamber glows for precisely 17 minutes before fading. Some researchers suggest quartz crystals embedded in the facade may have amplified the light, turning the event into a breathtaking spectacle. But why go to such lengths? Many believe Newgrange was a temple bridging life, death, and rebirth. The solstice sun, at its weakest point, symbolically reawakened the spirits within, linking the cycles of agriculture and human existence. Others argue it was a powerful ceremonial space where elites demonstrated their connection to cosmic forces. The spiral carvings covering its stones found at similar sites worldwide might map celestial patterns or soul journeys. One chilling theory proposes the tomb's acoustics, which amplify sound eerily, were used to create ritual voice of the gods effects during the illumination. What's undeniable is the scale of their ambition. Newgrange's outer wall consists of 200,000 tons of stone and earth, its white quartz facade gleaming for miles. The builders transported boulders from rivers over 50 miles away, some weighing over 4 tons. Inside, the corbelled roof has remained waterproof for millennia, a testament to engineering genius. Today, this 5,000-year-old structure still performs its celestial dance with flawless precision, proving our ancestors didn't just observe the heavens, they wove them into the very fabric of their world. The winter solstice at Newgrange isn't merely an alignment, it's a conversation across time, a reminder that the sky was never silent to those who knew how to listen. Rising from the Yucatan jungle like a stairway to the heavens, Chichen Itza's El Castillo pyramid is far more than an architectural marvel. It's a stone embodiment of the Mayan cosmos. At first glance, its 4 steep stairways with 91 steps each simply add up to 364, plus the temple platform completing the solar year. But the true genius reveals itself during the equinoxes, when the setting sun casts a shadowy serpent slithering down the northern staircase. This isn't just artistry, it's celestial engineering. The pyramid's corners are angled with such precision that triangular shadows align perfectly with the carved serpent heads at the base, creating the illusion of a giant feathered snake descending to earth, a representation of Kukulkan, the Mayan deity linking sky and soil. Dive deeper, and the astronomical sophistication becomes even clearer. Each of the pyramid's 9 terraces is split by staircases, mirroring the 18 months of the Mayan calendar. The 52 panels on its sides correspond to the 52-year cycle when their solar and sacred calendars realigned, a number so culturally significant that it dictated the timing of ritual renewals across Mesoamerica. But perhaps most astonishing is how El Castillo doubles as a Venus tracker. The Mayans revered Venus as the god Kukulkan's celestial twin, mapping its 264-day cycles with uncanny accuracy. Windows and doorways in the temple above align with the planet's extreme rising and setting points, while the pyramid's orientation matches Venus' position during key agricultural festivals. The mathematics behind this goes beyond practical astronomy. It's spiritual calculus. Shadow measurements during solstices prove the Maya intentionally tilted the pyramid's edges to amplify these effects. Even the acoustics are engineered. A clap at the base produces an echo mimicking the Quetzal bird's cry, a sacred sound symbolizing the divine. Modern laser scans reveal hidden substructures with even older alignments, suggesting generations of Mayan astronomers refined this sacred calculator over centuries. What makes El Castillo truly unique is how it synthesizes science and belief. The serpent effect wasn't just a calendar marker. It was a moment when the boundaries between realms dissolved, confirming the Maya's view of time as a sacred, cyclical force. While Western traditions later separated astronomy from mythology, here they remain intertwined, carved in limestone and light. Every equinox, thousands still gather to witness this ancient light show, proving that even after 1,000 years, the pyramid's cosmic dialogue hasn't lost its power to awe. Yet mysteries linger. Recent excavations suggest underground sinkholes beneath Chichen Itza may have been part of a vast hydraulic astronomical system, with water reflecting celestial patterns onto temple walls. Some carvings hint at eclipse predictions using Venus cycles, a technique so advanced it rivals later European astronomy. The pyramid's very proportions encode the pi constant and Mayan numerology, blending math, myth, and the movements of spheres. In El Castillo, the Maya didn't just observe the sky, they built a bridge between numbers and gods where shadows became serpents and stone could sing. Just a short walk from El Castillo lies one of the most enigmatic structures in the ancient world, the Caracol Observatory. This peculiar round tower, with its winding staircase resembling a snail's shell, stands as a testament to the Maya's obsessive precision in tracking the heavens. Unlike any other Mayan building, its design hints at a singular purpose: to monitor the cyclical dances of Venus, the planet that dictated the rhythm of Mayan life. Narrow slit windows pierce the tower's walls at precise angles, each one framing critical celestial events. One aligns perfectly with Venus' northernmost setting point, another with its southern extreme. But the real stroke of genius lies in how these alignments overlap during key phases of Venus' 264-day cycle. Sunlight would stream through multiple windows simultaneously, creating intersecting beams that functioned like a celestial crosshair. The Maya didn't just observe Venus, they lived by its schedule. Their Dresden Codex contains pages of astonishingly accurate Venus tables predicting its appearances centuries in advance. Why such devotion? Venus wasn't merely a bright star to them. It was the god Kukulkan's celestial avatar, its movements believed to influence harvests, wars, and royal coronations. When Venus rose as the morning star, it signaled the time to plant maize. Its disappearance as the evening star marked the onset of the rainy season. But its most feared phase was the brief period when Venus vanished behind the sun. The Maya saw this as Kukulkan descending into the underworld, a time so inauspicious that they delayed battles and avoided major decisions until the planet reappeared. The caracol's design reveals even darker applications. Recent LiDAR scans show its base aligns with a network of Sakbiob white ceremonial roads leading to nearby cities. These weren't just trade routes, they were strategic vectors. Military campaigns were timed to coincide with Venus' position relative to Jupiter, a combination believed to ensure victory. The western window frames the sunset on April 12th. The date traditional Maya histories claim their forces conquered Chichen Itza itself. It's no coincidence that the caracol's patio contains altars where captured enemies were sacrificed during Venus' zenith, a grisly fusion of astronomy and power. Beyond warfare, the observatory staircases encode mathematical marvels. The main staircase has 91 steps, mirroring El Castillo's solar count, but with a twist. The 4 doorways divide them into segments representing the 52-year calendar round. Even the tower's slight tilt, long dismissed as structural settling, is now recognized as an intentional adjustment to account for atmospheric refraction, allowing more accurate observations near the horizon. What makes the caracol truly revolutionary is its hybrid design. While later European observatories focused solely on measurement, this was a temple, calculator, and warning system fused into one. The Maya didn't separate science from spirituality. They saw Venus cycles as divine commandments written in light. Today, as archaeologists decipher more of its alignments, we're left to wonder, did they build the caracol to predict the heavens or to plead with them? The tower's silent stones hold the answer, still tracking a planet whose motions shaped an empire's fate. High in the cloud-shrouded Andes, the Intihuatana stone at Machu Picchu stands as one of the most misunderstood celestial artifacts of the ancient world. Often called the hitching post of the sun, this intricately carved granite pillar has sparked heated debates among archaeologists, astronomers, and indigenous communities. At first glance, its precise angles and alignment with the December solstice sunrise suggest a sophisticated astronomical function. During the winter solstice, sunlight strikes the stone's central protrusion at a perfect 90-degree angle, casting no shadow, an effect so dramatic that Spanish chroniclers later claimed the Inca tied the sun here to prevent it from abandoning the Earth. But was this really an ancient solar observatory or something far more profound? The controversy deepens when examining its spiritual significance. Quechua elders describe the Intihuatana as a wisdom keeper, a place where shamans communicated with celestial beings and harnessed the energy of Pachamama or Mother Earth. Unlike Western astronomical tools focused solely on measurement, the stone's dual role, physical marker and spiritual conduit, reflects the Inca world, where science and religion were inseparable. The 4 corners of the pillar align not just with solstice sunrises, but with sacred mountains considered apus or mountain spirits. Liquid channels carved into its base may have held offerings of chicha or blood during rituals, turning celestial observations into living ceremonies. Modern interference has only muddled the mystery. In 2001, a filming crew damaged the stone's tip during a beer commercial shoot, an act many believe disrupted its supposed energy fields. Scientists argue this incident compromised potential alignments, while indigenous groups lament the spiritual violation. Controversially, replicas now exist at some tourist sites, raising ethical questions about preserving heritage versus commodifying sacred objects. What makes the Intihuatana truly extraordinary is how it defies simple categorization. Laser scans reveal microscopic wear patterns suggesting it was adjusted over centuries, fine-tuned like a celestial instrument. Yet its location, perched atop a pyramid with panoramic views of the sacred valley, implies it served as the beating heart of Machu Picchu's cosmological design. Perhaps the answer lies beyond either or, not just an observatory or altar, but a nexus where the Inca bridged the tangible and intangible, turning stone and sunlight into a dialogue with the divine. The real tragedy isn't the unanswered questions, it's that we may never fully grasp the depth of knowledge lost when colonial forces suppressed indigenous astronomy. The Intihuatana's silent granite still holds secrets, waiting for those who understand that to study the sky, one must also listen to the earth. Beneath the towering spires of Angkor Wat lies a celestial blueprint older than the temple itself. This massive Khmer complex, built in the 12th century, isn't just the world's largest religious monument, it's a staggering mirror of the cosmos carved in stone. While most visitors marvel at its intricate bas-reliefs and sheer scale, few realize its true genius. Angkor Wat is a near-perfect terrestrial reflection of the Draco constellation, with its 5 central towers matching the dragon's key stars. But this celestial mimicry isn't mere artistry. The temple's Western orientation, a rarity in Hindu architecture, aligns with Draco's position during the spring equinox, suggesting the Khmer saw this constellation as a celestial axis mundi, the pivot around which the heavens turned. The solar alignments are even more precise. On the spring equinox, the sun rises directly over Angkor Wat's central tower, casting a shadow that bisects the temple's cruciform cloisters with mathematical perfection. This wasn't accidental. Recent drone surveys prove the entire complex was deliberately skewed 1/2 degree from true cardinal directions to amplify this effect. The moat surrounding the temple forms a rectangular mirror, reflecting the equinox sunrise, so the structure appears to rise from both earth and water simultaneously, a visual metaphor for the Hindu creation myth where the world emerges from cosmic oceans. Dig deeper and the astronomical symbolism becomes staggering. The temple's outer gallery contains a bas-relief depicting the churning of the Milky Ocean, a pivotal Hindu legend. What's astonishing is how the relief's 92 asuras and 88 devas mirror the 92 days between solstices and 88 days between equinoxes, a numerical code linking myth to celestial mechanics. Even the temple's dimensions whisper secrets. The distance between its outer gates corresponds to the lunar nodal cycle, 18.6 years, the period it takes for the moon's orbit to complete a full rotation. Most compelling is the theory that Angkor Wat encodes the precession of the equinoxes, the 26,000-year wobble of Earth's axis. The temple's bas-reliefs, when read in sequence, may depict this grand cycle through shifting iconography of Vishnu's avatars. Some researchers argue the entire complex was designed as a machine to track this slow celestial dance, with certain corridors aligning to stars that would only match their corresponding walls over millennia. Yet Angkor Wat's true magic lies in its duality. While its stones chart the heavens, they also anchor Khmer spirituality. The central tower represents Mount Meru, the mythical home of Hindu gods, surrounded by smaller peaks and continents rendered in architecture. The temple's reservoirs mimic cosmic oceans, and its galleries encode the concept of yugas, vast cosmic ages. This wasn't just an observatory, it was a metaphysical map where astronomy, theology, and imperial power converged. Modern laser scanning reveals even deeper layers. Subsurface structures show earlier alignments to the star Thuban in Draco, which served as the North Pole star around 3000 BC, suggesting the site's astronomical significance predates Hinduism by millennia. Could Angkor Wat be the pinnacle of a celestial tradition stretching back to the dawn of civilization? As dawn light still floods its corridors on equinox mornings, one thing is certain. This temple doesn't just point to the stars, it breathes with them, a stone hymn to humanity's timeless dialogue with the sky. Buried beneath the shifting sands of the Egyptian Sahara, Nabta Playa's weathered stones tell a story that rewrites the history of astronomy. This unassuming circle of megaliths dating back over 7,000 years isn't just older than Stonehenge, it's a testament to the sophistication of Africa's earliest sky watchers. What appears as a sparse arrangement of rocks is actually a complex celestial calculator, aligned with breathtaking precision to the summer solstice sunrise and the brightest stars in the night sky. But here's the twist, this wasn't just an observatory. The same stones that tracked the heavens also cast shadows onto cattle burial sites, revealing a culture that venerated the cosmos and their livestock as intertwined forces of life. The astronomy is staggering in its accuracy. 5 megalithic slabs form a line pointing directly to where Sirius, the Nile's celestial herald, would have risen around 4800 BC, signaling the annual floods critical to survival. Another alignment marks the summer solstice sunrise, while buried stones correspond to Orion's belt's position during the same era. Most astonishing is the calendar circle, a series of upright stones spaced to track the sun's shifting zenith positions over a 146-year cycle. This level of precision implies generations of recorded observations, a feat unimaginable for a nomadic desert people, or so we once thought. But Nabta Playa's true revelation lies beneath the surface. Excavations uncovered cattle bones carefully arranged in clay-lined chambers, some adorned with ochre and quartz. Radiocarbon dating shows these burials coincided with astronomical events, suggesting rituals where celestial and earthly cycles merged. One pit contained a cow buried upright, its skull aligned with the solstice sunrise, as if the animal itself became a living marker between realms. The implications are profound. This site predates Egyptian dynasties by millennia, yet it displays the roots of their later sky mythology. The Sirius alignment foreshadows Isis' association with the star, while cattle worship echoes Hathor's bovine symbolism. Even the stone placements mirror later pyramid orientations. Far from a primitive campsite, Nabta Playa was likely a ceremonial hub where nomadic tribes gathered during monsoons, combining practical astronomy with spiritual rites. What shatters conventional wisdom is the scale of their ambition. These Neolithic herders dragged 5-ton stones across miles of desert without wheels or beasts of burden. They engineered underground water storage to sustain gatherings during droughts. Most remarkably, their star maps required knowledge passed orally across centuries, proof that Africa's astronomical legacy runs deeper than recorded history. Today, as satellite imaging reveals even older alignments buried nearby, Nabta Playa forces us to reconsider where and how humanity's celestial obsession began. Not in the fertile crescents of Mesopotamia or the valleys of the Nile, but here, in a desert that once bloomed, where stones and stars whispered secrets to those who dared to look up. Perched on a barren ridge in coastal Peru, the 13 towers of Chanquillo stand like a stone comb raking the horizon, a forgotten masterpiece of ancient astronomy. Built over 2,300 years ago by a culture so mysterious we don't even know their name, this row of rectangular structures isn't just a calendar. It's the earliest known solar observatory in the Americas, predating the Inca by millennia. Each tower, carefully spaced at intervals matching the sun's shifting position, creates a calendar so precise that on the winter solstice, the sunrise aligns perfectly with the southernmost tower, while the summer solstice lights up the northernmost. The equinox's dead center, but here's what makes Chanquillo revolutionary. unlike single alignment sites like Stonehenge, this was a comprehensive system allowing observers to track the sun's daily movement year-round with startling accuracy. Why hasn't this marvel eclipsed Machu Picchu in fame? The answer lies in its creator's anonymity. Unlike the Inca, who left written records through quippus and Spanish chronicles, the Chanquillo builders vanished without a trace, leaving only these silent sentinels. Modern laser scans reveal the site's sophistication. The adjacent hilltop fortress contains a ceremonial plaza with viewing platforms where priests likely announced solstice events, while the tower's shadows create a moving sundial effect across the desert floor. Even more intriguing are the carvings found on nearby rocks, star maps and serpent motifs resembling later Inca cosmology, suggesting this place seeded celestial traditions across generations. The tower's construction defies logic. Built without mortar, their alignment spans 300 meters with a margin of error less than 1 degree, a feat requiring advanced geometric knowledge. Some researchers believe water channels found at the base served not just for drainage, but as reflective pools, doubling the observatory's accuracy by capturing both sunrise and sunset angles. Others point to ceramic drums found nearby, hinting at rituals where sound and light merge to mark sacred solar transitions. What truly sets Chanquillo apart is its democratization of time. While Inca astronomy served elite priest-kings, this site's open design suggests entire communities gathered to witness celestial events, tracking planting seasons and fishing cycles. The tower's staircases, impractical for climbing, may have symbolized a stairway to the sun itself. Yet for all its brilliance, Chanquillo was abandoned by 200 BCE, possibly due to climate shifts altering coastal fog patterns that once amplified solstice light effects. Today, as archaeologists uncover more about this enigmatic culture, one truth emerges. Chanquillo's obscurity isn't from lack of sophistication, but from our own bias toward empires that left grander ruins. These 13 towers didn't just mark time, they wove it into the fabric of daily life, proving you don't need pyramids to touch the sky. Hidden in the dense jungles of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, the ruins of Uxmal hold a celestial secret most visitors overlook. The governor's palace isn't just a masterpiece of Puch architecture, it's a massive stone calculator tuned to the rhythm of Venus. Unlike Chichen Itza's dramatic serpent effects, Uxmal's astronomical genius is subtle, woven into the very fabric of its design. The palace's central doorway aligns perfectly with Venus at its southernmost extreme, a phenomenon occurring once every 8 years. But the real marvel lies in the building's proportions. Its 322-foot facade is divided into sections corresponding to Venus' synodic period, 584 days, and its 19 doorways mirror the 19-year Metonic cycle, when solar and lunar calendars realign. This is no coincidence, it's mathematical poetry carved in limestone. The Puch style's intricate mosaics tell a deeper story. Zigzag motifs aren't mere decoration. They encode the planet's alternating movements as both morning and evening star. Even the palace's famed throne, decorated with twin-headed serpents, aligns with Venus' position during the coronation rituals of Uxmal's rulers. Modern laser scans reveal hidden sightlines where priests could track the planet's path through strategically placed windows, confirming historical accounts that Mayan astronomers predicted Venus cycles within hours over centuries. Why did later Mayan cities abandon this precision? The answer might lie in Uxmal's sudden decline around 900 CE. As droughts and political upheaval destabilized the region, the meticulous long-term observations required for Venus tracking became impractical. Later sites like Mayan prioritized simpler solar alignments, trading Uxmal's celestial sophistication for practicality. Some scholars argue the knowledge wasn't lost, it was deliberately concealed, reserved for elite priesthoods as power centralized. The greatest mystery isn't how Uxmal's builders achieved such accuracy, it's why we ever doubted them. The palace's Venus alignments work with uncanny reliability, proving the Maya didn't just observe the heavens, they built their world in its image, turning stone into a dialogue with the cosmos. As dusk falls over Uxmal today, Venus still rises exactly where the ancients predicted, a silent testament to knowledge that refused to vanish. Deep in the German countryside, a simple ring of wooden posts stands as one of history's most provocative astronomical puzzles, the Goseck Circle. Unearthed in 1991 by aerial surveyors, this Neolithic structure dates back nearly 7,000 years, making it Europe's oldest known solar observatory. But what makes Goseck extraordinary isn't just its age. It's the precision with which its designers tracked the sun's movements using nothing more than timber and intuition. 3 concentric rings, each punctuated by gates, align flawlessly with the winter solstice sunrise and sunset, framing the year's shortest day with an accuracy that rivals modern instruments. The southern gates, precisely 19 degrees apart, catch the first and last light of the solstice sun, while the northern openings track the lunar extremes. This wasn't just a calendar, it was a sacred machine for harnessing time itself. The reconstruction of Goseck has sparked heated debates among archaeologists. When the site was first excavated, only post holes remained. The wooden pillars had long since rotted away. In 2005, researchers rebuilt the circle using oak logs based on soil impressions, but some scholars argue the replica's proportions might be off by critical degrees. Controversially, the rebuilt gates are slightly narrower than the original post hole patterns suggest, potentially altering the solstice light effects. Others contend that missing evidence of a roof, debated due to traces of wattle and daub, could mean the structure wasn't fully enclosed, changing how shadows interacted with the inner space. These aren't just academic quibbles, they strike at the heart of understanding how Neolithic people experienced celestial events. If the reconstructions are inaccurate, we might be misreading the very purpose of Europe's first astronomical monument. Beyond its solar alignments, Goseck reveals a society far more sophisticated than once assumed. Excavations uncovered human and animal bones, flint knives, and pottery shards near the gates, evidence of solstice rituals where the cycles of life, death, and rebirth were ceremonially intertwined. Most striking are the cattle skulls placed at the southern entrance, their hollow eyes facing the winter sunrise as if witnessing the sun's symbolic rebirth. The circle's acoustics amplify sound eerily, suggesting chants or drumbeats may have accompanied the celestial spectacle. What truly baffles researchers is how this culture achieved such precision without writing or metal tools. The circle's geometry, 66 meters in diameter with a margin of error under 1%, implies standardized units of measurement and advanced communal labor organization. Even more perplexing are the carved symbols on nearby artifacts, spirals and cup marks that some researchers believe encoded solstice predictions for generations. Goseck's legacy extends beyond its posts. Nearly identical contemporary circles dot Central Europe from the Czech Republic to Austria, forming a forgotten network of Neolithic observatories. Their uniformity suggests a shared cosmological tradition, one that may have seeded later Bronze Age solar cults. Today, as the reconstructed circle still marks the solstice with uncanny fidelity, it challenges our assumptions about prehistoric science. These weren't primitive farmers guessing at the sky, they were Europe's first astronomers, turning timber into a timeless dialogue between Earth and Sun. The real mystery isn't how they built it, but why we ever thought they couldn't. Across the Mississippi River from modern-day St. Louis, the towering earthen mounds of Cahokia hide one of North America's most sophisticated ancient observatories, Woodhenge. Unlike its famous stone counterpart in England, this was a circle of 48 massive cedar posts, carefully positioned to track celestial events with startling precision. Built around 1000 CE by the Mississippian culture, the site's alignments aren't just about marking seasons, they reveal a civilization deeply attuned to cosmic patterns. The central post aligns perfectly with the sunrise during the spring and fall equinoxes, while outer posts frame the solstice sunrises. But the most intriguing feature is post 32, which doesn't align with solar events at all. Some researchers believe it pointed to the supernova explosion that created the Crab Nebula in 1054 CE, an event Chinese and Arab astronomers recorded, but one that's rarely linked to Native American sky-watching traditions. The construction of Woodhenge speaks volumes about Cahokia's astronomical ambitions. Each post hole was dug precisely 3 feet wide, filled with crushed limestone to stabilize the towering cedars, some measuring over 20 feet tall. The circle was rebuilt 5 times over 2 centuries, each iteration adjusting the post positions to account for slight shifts in the sun's rising points. This wasn't happenstance, it demonstrates generations of meticulous observation. The third reconstruction even introduced an offset post that some argue tracked the 18.6-year lunar cycle, echoing Stonehenge's sophistication nearly a continent and millennia apart. Yet Woodhenge was more than a celestial calculator. Excavations uncovered ceremonial caches at the base of key posts, bundles of arrows, mica effigies, and even the remains of a young woman, possibly sacrificed during a solstice ritual. The circle's acoustics amplify sound unnaturally, suggesting chants or drumbeats may have accompanied astronomical events. Most strikingly, the sunrise alignment during the spring equinox points directly at Monk's Mound, Cahokia's largest structure, implying the ruling elite may have used these celestial phenomena to legitimize their authority, framing themselves as intermediaries between earth and sky. The site's sudden abandonment around 1350 CE remains one of archaeology's greatest puzzles. Soil samples reveal catastrophic flooding around that time, while tree rings indicate prolonged droughts. Some theories suggest overpopulation and resource depletion. Others point to political upheaval or a breakdown of the cosmology that held society together. The answer might lie in the stars themselves. Around 1300 CE, Halley's Comet appeared, followed by a series of lunar eclipses events that may have been interpreted as celestial omens. Without written records, we're left to piece together clues from the silent posts. What makes Woodhenge extraordinary isn't just its precision, but its testament to a thriving astronomical tradition that flourished independently of European or Mesoamerican influences. When French explorers first encountered the abandoned mounds in the 1700s, they dismissed them as natural formations. Today, as archaeologists reconstruct the posts using traditional tools, they're discovering mathematical sophistication rivaling medieval European astronomy. The real tragedy isn't that Woodhenge was forgotten. It's that we almost missed the chance to learn from a civilization that once turned timber and dirt into a mirror of the heavens. Every solstice, when the sun still rises over the reconstructed posts, it illuminates not just a calendar, but a legacy of curiosity etched into the American landscape. Carved into the sandstone cliffs of southern Egypt, the great temple of Abu Simbel performs a celestial spectacle so precise it defies belief. Twice a year, around February 22nd and October 22nd, the rising sun pierces 65 meters into the temple's darkened sanctuary, illuminating 3 of the 4 seated statues, Ra-Horakhti, Amun-Ra, and the deified Ramses Roman II himself. Only Ptah, god of darkness, remains forever in shadow. This dazzling alignment lasts just 20 minutes, as if the sun itself were paying homage to the pharaoh. But was this solar miracle intentional or an astonishing cosmic coincidence? The debate reveals the razor-thin line between ancient ingenuity and modern interpretation. Modern measurements show the alignment isn't perfect. The sun strikes Ramses' face a day earlier than the traditional dates of his coronation and birth, leading some Egyptologists to argue the phenomenon is a quirk of celestial mechanics. Yet the precision of the temple's axis, oriented 29.58 degrees northeast, matches the sun's path with such accuracy that even a 1-degree deviation would ruin the effect. The architects compensated for atmospheric refraction, ensuring the sunlight would bend correctly through the temple's lengthy corridor. This level of calculation suggests deliberate intent, especially considering the temple's original location before relocation in the 1960s to avoid Nile flooding. The symbolic implications deepen the mystery. The dates align closely with key agricultural cycles, the start of the planting season and the Nile's annual inundation. Some scholars propose the illuminated triad represents the unification of solar and royal power, with Ptah's eternal darkness symbolizing the underworld's balance. Intriguingly, the inner sanctuary's walls depict Ramses presenting offerings to the gods during these solar events, implying the phenomenon was central to the temple's ritual purpose. Controversy erupted when the temple was moved. Engineers painstakingly recreated the original alignment, but some claim the modern illumination occurs one day later due to minute positional shifts. Others argue precession Earth's slow axial wobble has gradually altered the timing over 3 millennia. Either way, Abu Simbel's solar magic endures, a testament to how the ancients wove time, divinity, and stone into a single sacred equation. Whether by design or divine accident, the temple still speaks the language of the cosmos, one beam of light at a time. On the windswept island of Malta, the Mnajdra temples stand as one of humanity's most haunting celestial puzzles. Built over 5,600 years ago by a culture with no known written language, these limestone structures align with the equinoxes and solstices with a precision that would challenge modern architects. The South Temple's elliptical chambers are oriented so precisely that on the spring and autumn equinoxes, sunlight pierces the main doorway, splits into a razor-thin beam, and illuminates a central stone slab, an effect so exact it could set calendars for planting and harvests. During solstices, the first rays of dawn strike the edges of massive stone panels flanking the entrance, marking the year's extremes without a shadow's width of error. How did Neolithic builders achieve such accuracy? The answer might lie in their willingness to fail first. Archaeologists discovered earlier temples nearby with less precise alignments, evidence of generations refining their craft through trial and observation. Mnajdra's builders didn't need writing, they engineered memory into stone. The temple's corbelled ceilings mimic the arc of the sky, while pitted star holes drilled through certain slabs may have served as simple sighting tools to track celestial movements. Some researchers argue the temple's distinctive cloverleaf shapes mirror the celestial paths of stars like Sirius, which rose heliacally over Malta's southern cliffs during key agricultural periods. But the real shock comes from what lies beneath. Ground-penetrating radar revealed a network of underground channels that may have held water to reflect celestial events onto temple walls, effectively turning the chambers into primitive planetariums. Even more intriguing are the so-called oracle holes, small apertures where priests or shamans could project voices during rituals, creating the illusion of gods speaking when sunlight flooded the chambers. This wasn't just astronomy, it was celestial theater, blending science and spirituality in ways we're only beginning to decipher. The mystery deepens when considering the builders' tools. Without metal or wheels, they quarried and transported limestone blocks weighing up to 20 tons, shaping them with nothing but stone and obsidian tools. The doorway's precise angles suggest the use of rope and post-surveying techniques, while carved spirals on the walls may encode lunar cycles. Some of these spirals align with solstice sunlight in patterns reminiscent of later Babylonian eclipse records, raising the provocative possibility that Malta's temple culture seeded astronomical knowledge across the Mediterranean. What makes Mnajdra truly extraordinary is its resilience. While later civilizations like the Egyptians and Maya left detailed records, Malta's temple builders transmitted their celestial knowledge entirely through oral tradition and stone alignments. Their legacy endured for millennia, only to be forgotten until modern astronomers rediscovered their genius. Today, as equinox sunlight still slices through those ancient doorways with clockwork precision, Mnajdra whispers a humbling truth. You don't need writing to touch the stars, just patience, stone, and an unshakable determination to read the sky. Tucked away in the lush rainforests of Belize, the Caracol Observatory stands as a testament to Mayan astronomical genius and a direct challenge to what we thought we knew about ancient science. While medieval European astronomers were still debating whether the Earth was flat, the Maya had already mapped Venus' complex cycles with jaw-dropping accuracy. The Caracol's most striking feature, its radical round design, completely unlike the angular temples of other Mayan cities. This circular tower, crowned with a spiral staircase resembling a winding nautilus shell, was built for one purpose: to track the celestial ballet of Venus with surgical precision. Step inside the upper chamber, and you'll find narrow slit windows precisely angled to frame Venus at its most significant moment: its first appearance as the morning star, its disappearance as the evening star, and its dramatic conjunctions with other planets. The western window aligns perfectly with Venus' southernmost setting point during the rainy season, a date Mayan farmers used to time maize planting. Another slit captures the planet's northern extreme, marking the onset of drought-resistant crop cycles. But the real stroke of genius lies in how these windows overlap. During Venus' 8-year cycle, sunlight would stream through multiple openings simultaneously, creating crisscrossing beams that functioned like a celestial targeting system. While Charlemagne's Europe was burning classical texts, Mayan astronomers at Caracol were compiling the Dresden Codex, a Venus almanac predicting the planet's movements 500 years into the future with an error margin of just 2 hours per century. Their calculations accounted for Venus' 264-day synodic period, its 584-day orbital dance with Earth, and even its retrograde motions. This wasn't stargazing, it was mathematical astrophysics carved in stone. The contrast with contemporary Europe couldn't be starker. While European monasteries debated Aristotelian cosmology, the Maya understood that Venus was both morning and evening star centuries before Greek astronomers like Pythagoras proposed the idea. When Charlemagne's court scholars still believed planets were gods wandering the sky, Mayan rulers timed wars and coronations to Venus' celestial positions, viewing its cycles as divine battle orders. The Caracol's strategic location atop a pyramid allowed observers to sight Venus through forest clearings, using natural horizon markers to enhance their calculations. Recent LiDAR scans reveal the observatory's true sophistication. The stairwell spirals encode the 52-year calendar round in their turns, while hidden alcoves may have held torches to simulate Venus' brilliance during rituals. Most remarkably, the entire structure tilts 5 degrees east, not from settling but to compensate for atmospheric refraction when viewing Venus near the horizon. This level of precision wouldn't be matched in Europe until Tycho Brahe's 16th-century observatories. The Caracol forces us to rethink the narrative of scientific progress. Here, in the jungles of Belize, a civilization without telescopes, without written numbers as we know them, achieved celestial insight that eclipsed their contemporaries across the ocean. As Venus still rises today exactly where those ancient windows predicted, the stones whisper a humbling truth: genius isn't bound by geography or era, only by the limits of our imagination. Perched high in the mountains of North Macedonia, Kokino's weathered stone platforms have ignited one of modern archaeology's fiercest debates. Is this Bronze Age site a sophisticated astronomical observatory, or are we seeing patterns where none exist? Discovered in 2001, Kokino's tiered rock formations immediately captured imaginations, with claims that its carefully placed notches and markers tracked the sun, moon, and stars with Neolithic precision. But separating verified celestial alignments from wishful thinking reveals a fascinating tension between scientific rigor and the human instinct to find meaning in ancient stones. The strongest evidence comes from 4 specific stone thrones and markers that align uncannily with solstice and equinox events. During the summer solstice, sunrise aligns perfectly with a distinctive V-shaped notch on the horizon, casting a beam of light that illuminates a ritual platform at the site's center. Another marker pinpoints the winter solstice sunrise, while secondary notches track the lunar standstills, the moon's most extreme northerly and southerly rising points over its 18.6-year cycle. These alignments aren't subtle, they're dramatic, lighting up ceremonial spaces with theatrical timing that even skeptics admit couldn't be accidental. Archaeoastronomers have measured these alignments to within half a degree of accuracy, comparable to much younger sites like Stonehenge, but controversy erupts around Cahokia's alleged stellar alignments. While the solar and lunar markers hold up to scrutiny, some researchers propose that lesser-known notches align with Sirius, Pleiades, and even specific star clusters used for agricultural calendars. The problem: Bronze Age star positions have shifted due to precession, Earth's slow axial wobble, meaning modern measurements don't always match ancient skies. Even more contentious are claims that Cahokia's star maps include carvings of constellations. Upon closer inspection, many of these carvings show only natural weathering patterns, highlighting how easily pareidolia, seeing meaningful shapes in random patterns, can distort interpretations. The site's cultural context adds another layer. Cahokia wasn't built in isolation. It shares traits with contemporary Balkan and Mediterranean sacred sites. Pottery fragments and ritual vessels found nearby suggest it was a ceremonial hub where sky watching blended with ancestor worship. One excavated platform contains over 50 grinding holes, possibly for ritual offerings, positioned where solstice shadows would strike them at midday. This duality, practical astronomy intertwined with spiritual practice, makes Cahokia so compelling. It wasn't just a calendar, it was a stage where celestial drama played out for awestruck audiences over 3,000 years ago. Recent 3D laser scans reveal even deeper complexity. The easternmost observation platform has minute adjustments in its stone seats, allowing slight shifts in viewing angles that may have refined observational accuracy over generations. Some theorists propose these were teaching stations where experienced astronomers guided apprentices in tracking celestial cycles. Meanwhile, excavations uncovered a peculiar artifact, a ceramic disc with precisely drilled holes that some believe was an ancient analog computer for predicting lunar eclipses, though others dismiss it as a simple spindle whorl. The debate over Cahokia ultimately reflects a bigger challenge in archaeoastronomy: how to honor ancient ingenuity without projecting modern expectations onto the past. Its verified solar alignations prove Bronze Age people possessed sophisticated observational skills, while the shakier stellar claims remind us that not every notch was a star marker. Perhaps Cahokia's greatest lesson lies in its layered purpose: part observatory, part temple, part communal gathering space, where the sky wasn't just studied but worshipped, feared, and woven into the very fabric of daily life. As dawn still strikes those ancient thrones on solstice mornings, the stones whisper that truth often lies somewhere between provable fact and the mysteries we've yet to unravel. The Temple of Karnak, Egypt's grandest religious complex, hides a celestial secret in its seemingly chaotic sprawl of sanctuaries and obelisks. While most visitors marvel at its sheer scale, few realize its central axis aligns with surgical precision to the winter solstice sunrise, an alignment that transforms the entire temple into a colossal sundial. As dawn breaks on the year's shortest day, sunlight pours down the main corridor, slipping between towering pylons to illuminate the innermost sanctuary where Amun-Ra, the sun god himself, once resided. This isn't just poetic symbolism, it's a feat of engineering so exact that even a 1-degree deviation would disrupt the effect. The temple's builders didn't just honor the sun, they trapped its light in stone. Step into the hypostyle hall and the astronomical genius deepens. This forest of 134 massive columns, each towering 60 feet high, isn't merely an architectural marvel, it's a frozen celestial map. Recent 3D scans reveal that the column's arrangement mirrors specific star patterns visible during the New Kingdom. The central 12 columns, thicker than the rest, align with the winter solstice sun's path, while the smaller columns to the east and west may represent constellations like Orion and Sirius, celestial beings sacred to Egyptian cosmology. Even the hall's famed star-spangled ceiling, now mostly lost, once depicted the northern night sky with such accuracy that researchers believe priests used it to track time by watching stellar movements reflected in polished ceremonial basins below. The theories surrounding Karnak's celestial design grow even more intriguing when you examine the temple's evolution. Over 2,000 years, nearly every pharaoh added to the complex, yet the solstice alignment remained sacrosanct. Archaeologists discovered that Thutmose Roman III shifted an entire obelisk's position by 2 meters to preserve the solar alignment during his expansions. Meanwhile, the hall's columns bear subtle notches and carvings that some scholars argue functioned as ancient declinometers, instruments for measuring star angles. One controversial theory suggests the hypostyle hall was more than a symbolic sky map. It was a working observatory where priests used the columns as giant sighting devices to predict lunar eclipses by monitoring how moonlight filtered through specific gaps at key times of year. What makes Karnak's astronomy so revolutionary is how it merges the practical and the divine. The winter solstice wasn't just a calendar marker. It celebrated the sun's rebirth, coinciding with the annual Nile flood retreat that left fertile silt for planting. The hypostyle hall's stellar columns may have doubled as ritual spaces where the pharaoh, believed to be the god's earthly representative, reenacted cosmic cycles through ceremonies timed to celestial events. Even the temple's famous sacred lake, oriented north-south, likely served as a reflective surface for observing the pole star's position, helping priests adjust their stellar maps over centuries. Modern laser scans continue to unveil hidden layers. Subsurface chambers beneath the hall contain star charts carved into their floors, while hidden corridors align with the heliacal rising of Sopdet Sirius, the event that heralded the Nile flood. Some researchers now believe Karnak's lay out-encodes the precession of the equinoxes, the 26,000-year wobble of Earth's axis through subtle shifts in later editions. This wouldn't just make it a temple, but a multi-generational celestial archive carved in stone. The real wonder isn't that the ancient Egyptians achieved such precision, it's that they sustained it across 30 generations of builders. While Stonehenge and Chankillo reflect single cultures' achievements, Karnak embodies the relentless refinement of astronomical knowledge over millennia. As the winter solstice sun still streaks down that ancient axis, illuminating hieroglyphs that proclaim, "The sky rests upon the temple," one truth becomes clear: Karnak wasn't just a place to worship the cosmos. It was a machine built to touch it. Deep in the arid expanse of New Mexico's Choco Canyon, Casa Rinconada's Great Kiva stands as a silent sentinel to one of North America's most heated astronomical debates. This massive circular structure, nearly 60 feet in diameter, isn't just the largest ceremonial kiva in the region. It's a celestial puzzle box hiding alignment so precise, they've split the archaeological community for decades. The controversy centers on 2 small, unassuming niches in the kiva's wall that align with the northern and southern extremes of the moon's 18.6-year cycle, known as lunar standstills. To some researchers, these alignments prove the ancestral Pueblones possessed astronomical knowledge rivaling medieval Europe. To others, they're mere architectural quirks devoid of celestial intent. The evidence is tantalizingly specific. During a major lunar standstill, an event occurring only every 18 to 19 years, moonlight streams through the kiva's southern niche at its most extreme southerly rising point. Similarly, the northern niche frames the moon at its northernmost extreme, a phenomenon so rare that without written records, tracking it would require generations of precise oral tradition. But here's where the debate ignites. The niches aren't perfectly symmetrical. The southern alignment is flawless, while the northern one is off by several degrees. Skeptics argue this inconsistency disproves intentional design, while proponents counter that the Kiva's builders may have prioritized the southern alignment for ceremonial reasons, given its connection to winter solstice observations at nearby Pueblo Bonito. Modern technology has only deepened the mystery. Laser scans reveal that the Kiva's bench seats are positioned at angles matching the moon's minor standstill positions, less dramatic but still significant lunar events. Even more compelling are acoustic studies showing that chanting from the Kiva's central hearth would create echoes precisely timed to the moon's transit across the aligned niches, suggesting rituals where sound and celestial movement intertwined. Archaeologists have uncovered petroglyphs on nearby cliffs depicting spirals and concentric circles, symbols many Puebloan cultures associate with lunar cycles, further hinting at a sophisticated lunar tradition. Yet the cultural context complicates the picture. Unlike the Maya or Egyptians, the ancestral Puebloans left no explicit astronomical texts. Their knowledge was likely encoded in oral traditions and ritual practices, much of which was lost or suppressed after European contact. Contemporary Pueblo elders describe the Kiva as a place of emergence, where cosmological teachings were passed down, but specifics about lunar tracking remain guarded cultural knowledge. Some tribal historians caution against over-interpreting the niches, noting that Pueblo cosmology often blends celestial observation with Earth-based spirituality in ways Western science struggles to categorize. The stakes of this debate extend beyond Cosa Rinconada. If the lunar alignments were intentional, they rewrite the narrative of Native American scientific achievement, proving sophisticated long-term astronomical tracking existed in the Southwest centuries before European telescopes. Opponents worry that imposing Western scientific frameworks onto indigenous structures risks distorting their true cultural significance. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere between, a reminder that the night sky spoke to Choco's people in a language we're still learning to hear. As moonlight still filters through those ancient niches every 18 years, it illuminates not just stone but the enduring human hunger to find meaning in the heavens. Perched on a stark plateau overlooking Bolivia's sprawling lowlands, El Fuerte de Samipata isn't just an ancient ruin, it's a stone canvas alive with celestial secrets. This massive sandstone outcrop, carved with intricate channels, spirals, and seats, hides an alignment so precise it feels like a message across centuries. During the June solstice sunrise, golden light slips through a carefully sculpted notch in the eastern cliffs, striking a ceremonial platform at the center of the rock with uncanny accuracy. But here's what makes this site extraordinary. That same alignment doesn't just mark the solstice, it points directly toward Tiwanaku, the spiritual and astronomical epicenter of the ancient Andean world, over 200 miles away. The engineering behind this celestial handshake reveals a sophistication that defies expectations. The solstice sunlight doesn't just hit the platform, it travels along a pre-carved channel, funneling the beam like a laser toward a ritual seat where a shaman or priest astronomer might have sat. Nearby carvings of felines and serpents, symbols of celestial power in Andean cosmology, frame the event, suggesting this wasn't just a calendar but a stage for cosmic theater. Even more compelling are the zigzag patterns etched into the rock, which some researchers argue mirror the Milky Way's path during the dry season, a time sacred to agricultural rituals. But the real mystery lies in El Fuerte's connection to Tiwanaku. The solstice alignment doesn't just point in Tiwanaku's general direction, it lines up with the exact angle of the June sunrise as seen from Tiwanaku's Acapana pyramid. This implies a level of cross-cultural astronomical collaboration or shared knowledge that rewrites our understanding of pre-Columbian science. How did these distant sites coordinate such precision without written records or modern tools? One theory suggests El Fuerte was a ceremonial outpost where Tiwanaku's priests refined their calendar system, using the site's unique elevation to track celestial events obscured by lower altitude weather. Excavations have uncovered pottery shards and textiles bearing Tiwanaku's iconic gateway of the sun motifs, strengthening the link, yet controversy lingers. Some scholars argue the alignments are coincidental, noting that natural erosion could have altered the rock's channels over centuries. Others counter that the carvings where patterns show deliberate, repeated use as sighting devices. The debate intensified when researchers discovered star-shaped carvings near the solstice marker, some resembling the Southern Cross constellation, which the Inca later used to mark the solstices. Could El Fuerte have been a proto-observatory where knowledge was passed down long before the Inca Empire rose? The site's layered history adds to the intrigue. Originally carved by the Chichen people around 300 CE, El Fuerte was later occupied by the Inca, who added their own astronomical refinements. Spanish chronicles describe ceremonies where priests trapped the sun during solstices, echoing rituals at Tiwanaku and Machu Picchu. Today, as modern astronomers verify these alignments with laser theodolites, one truth emerges. El Fuerte stones don't just mark time, they bind distant cultures and highland cosmologies into a single celestial conversation. Whether observatory, temple, or both, this enigmatic rock reminds us that the sky was never silent to those who knew how to listen. Burrowed beneath the rolling hills of Ireland's Boyne Valley, the Knowth passage tomb hides a celestial cipher carved in stone. Older than the pyramids, this Neolithic marvel isn't just a burial mound. It's a labyrinth of astronomical artistry, its curbstones engraved with spirals, zigzags, and concentric circles that may hold the key to understanding how Stone Age people tracked the moon's mysterious dance. The tomb's eastern and western passages align precisely with the equinox sunrises and sunsets, but the real enigma lies in the 17 decorated stones surrounding the mound. Some researchers believe these carvings map the moon's complex 18.6-year cycle, with specific symbols appearing only on stones that align with lunar standstills. One stone in particular, known as Curbstone 52, features a series of crescent shapes that match the moon's phases over a single month, a Neolithic moon calendar etched in rock. Yet the most baffling feature isn't what's visible, it's what was deliberately hidden. During excavations, archaeologists discovered that the Eastern Passage's original entrance had been intentionally blocked with massive stones millennia ago, precisely obscuring its equinox alignment. Why would a culture invest generations of labor into celestial precision only to seal away their masterpiece? One theory suggests ritual closure, a symbolic death of the passage tied to shifting spiritual practices. Another posits political upheaval, where new leaders suppressed older astronomical traditions. The most compelling explanation lies in the tomb's later reuse by the Beaker people around 2500 BC, who may have viewed the original builders' knowledge as dangerous or sacred enough to conceal. The carvings themselves deepen the mystery. Recent 3D imaging reveals previously invisible markings beneath the visible spiral subsurface lines that mirror the paths of specific stars during the winter solstice. Some stones even show evidence of periodic recarving, as if generations of sky watchers updated the designs to refine their celestial predictions, the most haunting detail. Certain spirals are positioned so that moonlight would illuminate them in sequence during lunar eclipses, transforming the tomb into a dynamic astronomical display. What sets Knowth apart is its duality: practical astronomy intertwined with sacred geometry. The same passage that tracked solstices also leads to a chamber shaped like a womb, suggesting the builders saw celestial cycles as inseparable from themes of rebirth. Even the mound's location is precise, placed so that the full moon rises directly over nearby Newgrange during major lunar standstills, creating a symbolic connection between the two sites. Modern laser scans confirm the carving's precision, but they also expose something humbling. we're still deciphering a language of shadows and stone, one that may have been clearer to a Neolithic farmer than to today's astrophysicists. The sealed passage lingers as the ultimate riddle. Was it closed to protect knowledge, to erase it, or because the sky itself had shifted over centuries? As the equinox sun still grazes the tomb's entrance, now blocked by 5,000 years of history, Knowth whispers that some celestial secrets weren't meant to be reclaimed, only remembered. Rising from the heart of Teotihuacan's ancient metropolis, the Pyramid of the Sun doesn't just dominate the landscape, it orchestrates it. This colossal structure, built around 2,000 years ago by a civilization that left no written records, aligns with celestial events so precisely that modern archaeologists are still unraveling its secrets. The pyramid's western face points directly toward the setting sun on August 12th and April 29th, dates that bookend the agricultural cycle in the Valley of Mexico. But the real stroke of genius lies beneath your feet. The pyramid sits at the center of a street grid so meticulously planned that the entire city becomes a cosmic mirror. The Avenue of the Dead, Teotihuacan's main thoroughfare, aligns 15.5 degrees east of true north, an orientation that doesn't just match the Pleiades setting point during the city's zenith, but also frames the pyramid's shadow during equinoxes to create the illusion of a serpent slithering down its steps. This wasn't random urban planning. Every structure in Teotihuacan seems calculated to reflect celestial patterns. The smaller pyramid of the moon aligns with the northernmost setting of the moon, while the Ciudadela complex tracks Venus' cyclical appearances. Even the city's layout may encode astronomical ratios. The distance between the Pyramid of the Sun and the Cerro Gordo mountain mirrors the Earth's polar radius scaled down by 100,000, a number significant in later Mesoamerican cosmology. The precision is haunting when you consider that Teotihuacan's builders accomplished this without compasses, wheels, or even a known system of writing. What truly baffles scholars is how this knowledge was lost or hidden. When the Aztecs discovered the abandoned city centuries later, they named it Teotihuacan, the place where gods were created, believing it held divine wisdom. Modern excavations reveal tantalizing clues. Beneath the Pyramid of the Sun lies a network of tunnels and chambers, one containing a cache of symbolic objects arranged in celestial patterns. Liquid mercury pools discovered in these tunnels may have represented underworld rivers mirroring the Milky Way above. Some researchers argue the tunnels themselves formed a subterranean observatory where priests tracked zenith passages, the moments when the sun stood directly overhead, casting no shadow. The theories grow even more intriguing when examining the pyramid's construction. Its core contains volcanic rock rich in magnetite, creating localized magnetic anomalies that align with key astronomical sightlines. Were these natural features deliberately incorporated, or did the builders manipulate them? The pyramid's original facing stones, now mostly gone, were coated with mica, a mineral that reflects light in ways that could have created dazzling solar effects during ceremonies. Even the stair count holds meaning, 260 steps matching the length of the Mesoamerican sacred calendar cycle. Perhaps the most provocative theory suggests Teotihuacan's grid encodes a lost understanding of precession Earth's slow axial wobble that shifts star positions over millennia. The city's orientation would have aligned perfectly with the Pleiades setting around 150 BCE, but later cultures maintained the same alignment long after the stars had drifted. Was this blind adherence to tradition, or did Teotihuacan's builders anticipate the shift, embedding knowledge meant to last generations? As the midday sun still casts the pyramid's shadow precisely down the Avenue of the Dead on equinoxes, we're left to wonder, did these ancient architects see their city as a bridge between earth and sky, or were they building something even grander? A stone calculator meant to outlast empires, its celestial language waiting millennia for us to decipher. The stones won't speak, but their alignments still do, tracing patterns across time as insistently as the stars they mimic. Deep in Russia's rugged Ural Mountains, the circular ruins of Archaeum rise from the steppe like a Bronze Age enigma. Dubbed the Russian Stonehenge, this 2-acre fortress settlement dating back to the 17th century BCE isn't just a collection of ancient walls. It's a geometric masterpiece with celestial secrets etched into its very blueprint. Two concentric circular walls, separated by a maze-like street network, form a design so precise it aligns with key astronomical events. The outer wall's 4 gates frame the summer solstice sunrise and sunset, while inner structures mark the winter solstice and equinoxes with uncanny accuracy. But here's where the mystery deepens. Archaeum's layout may also track the moon's 18.6-year cycle, with specific buildings aligning to lunar standstills, a sophistication rarely seen outside megalithic Europe. What sets Archaeum apart isn't just its alignments, but the controversy surrounding its purpose. Some researchers argue it was a full-fledged observatory, pointing to its radial streets functioning like a giant sundial, casting shadows that marked seasonal transitions. Others believe it was a spiritual center where celestial events guided rituals for the Sintashta culture, a people known for their early chariot innovations. The debate heats up when examining the site's unusual features. A central square devoid of buildings, possibly used for communal sky watching, and clay tablets found nearby inscribed with symbols resembling star constellations. Skeptics dismiss these as coincidental, but proponents note that Archaeum's builders deliberately incinerated the site before abandoning it, a ritual act hinting at profound cosmological significance. The site's cultural context adds layers to the puzzle. Unlike Stonehenge's isolated grandeur, Archaeum was part of a network of 23 similar settlements, all sharing aligned orientations. This suggests a shared celestial tradition spanning the Eurasian steppe. Recent discoveries of copper smelting furnaces and horse bones reveal a society blending metallurgy, animal husbandry, and astronomy, a fusion of practical and sacred knowledge. Some theorists even link Archaeum to early Zoroastrian fire worship, noting how solstice sunlight would have illuminated sacred hearths at its center. Yet Archaeum's modern reception is as intriguing as its ancient past. Since its rediscovery in 1987, the site has become a magnet for esoteric seekers, with some claiming it's a place of power on par with Tibet's sacred mountains. Russian scientists, meanwhile, have mapped its alignments with laser theodolites, confirming that certain sightlines match the positions of stars like Capella and Vega as they appeared 4,000 years ago. The most compelling evidence, a series of shallow pits arranged in arcs outside the walls, which may have held wooden posts for tracking stellar movements, a Bronze Age version of an astrolabe. Whether observatory, temple, or both, Archaeum challenges our assumptions about prehistoric science. Its builders left no written records, but their stones speak volumes, a people who didn't just observe the heavens but built their world in its image. As the solstice sun still rises over those ancient gates, one truth echoes across the steppe: some mysteries refuse to be buried, even by millennia. Perched atop the rolling hills of County Meath, the Loughcrew cairns hold a celestial secret that comes alive only twice a year. Known as Ireland's Stonehenge of the East, these Neolithic passage tombs transform into a breathtaking solar theater during the spring and autumn equinoxes. As dawn breaks on these pivotal days, sunlight streams through the entrance of Cairn T, the largest of the tombs, traveling 20 feet down a narrow passageway to illuminate a backstone covered in cryptic carvings. The beam doesn't just brighten the chamber, it specifically highlights a series of spiral motifs, crescents, and zigzag patterns that have baffled researchers for centuries. What looks like abstract art might be something far more extraordinary, a record of cosmic events witnessed by sky watchers over 5,000 years ago. The precision of this alignment is no accident. The tomb's passage is oriented at 91 degrees, carefully calculated to capture the equinox sunrise over nearby Slieve Knockalliog Hill. But the real mystery lies in the illuminated symbols themselves. Among the swirls, one carving stands out, a radiant starburst pattern surrounded by concentric circles. Some researchers argue this could depict a comet or supernova, a celestial phenomenon so dramatic it compelled Neolithic astronomers to immortalize it in stone. The theory gains traction when examining ancient climate records. Ice cores from Greenland show elevated nitrate levels around 3200 BC, potential evidence of a cosmic impact or atmospheric disturbance visible to prehistoric sky gazers. Not everyone agrees. Skeptics point out that similar carvings appear in tombs without solar alignments, suggesting broader cultural symbolism rather than specific astronomical events. But recent discoveries add weight to the cosmic interpretation. In 1992, archaeologists found a hidden recess above the backstone containing fragments of quartz and burned bone, materials often associated with ritual observations of celestial phenomena in other Neolithic sites. Even more compelling, the tomb's ceiling features pecked holes that, when mapped, resemble the Pleiades star cluster as it would have appeared in the late 4th millennium BC, a constellation revered by ancient cultures worldwide for marking agricultural cycles. The debate intensifies when considering the broader landscape. Loughboro's 30 cairns aren't randomly placed, they form a deliberate pattern mirroring the lunar cycle's phases, with cairn T positioned like a full moon among smaller crescents. Surrounding hilltops host stone circles aligned to lunar standstills, suggesting an integrated system for tracking both solar and lunar events. One lesser-known cairn, Cairn S, contains a rare carving of a bow-shaped motif that precisely matches descriptions of a 6th magnitude supernova visible in northern Europe around 3900 BC. Could these tombs be a prehistoric archive of celestial trauma, a warning or veneration of cosmic power? Modern technology offers tantalizing clues. In 2018, reflectance transformation imaging revealed previously invisible lines connecting the carved symbols, forming what some researchers interpret as a crude star map. The most controversial finding, a cluster of dots near the starburst carving, aligns with the positions of planets Jupiter and Saturn during a rare conjunction that would have occurred around 3200 BC, an event so rare it might have been seen as divine intervention. Whether ancient comet, supernova, or sacred geometry, Loughboro's stones keep their secrets close. What's undeniable is the intentionality behind this equinox phenomenon. As sunlight still paints those enigmatic carvings twice a year, the cairns whisper a truth we're only beginning to grasp. Neolithic minds didn't just observe the sky, they wove its drama into the very bones of the earth, transforming stone into both calendar and chronicle. The real question isn't whether they recorded celestial events, it's how much more they understood than we've ever imagined. The temple of Amun-Ra at Karnak doesn't just honor the sun god, it becomes the sun god's instrument every winter solstice, transforming stone into a celestial timepiece of staggering precision. While most visitors focus on the towering hypostyle hall, the real astronomical magic happens along the temple's central axis, where dawn light pierces the sanctuary's deepest recesses on the year's shortest day. This alignment isn't approximate, it's mathematically exact. The entire complex angles 3 degrees off true east, ensuring the solstice sunrise slips between massive pylons like a golden thread, illuminating statues of Amun-Ra and the pharaoh in a symbolic reunion of divine and royal power. What seems like symbolic theater reveals itself as sophisticated engineering. The corridor narrows progressively to amplify the light's intensity, while polished limestone floors reflect it toward hidden chambers, creating a cascading solar effect that would have left ancient worshippers awestruck. Beneath this spectacle lies an even more intriguing system, a network of concealed corridors and chambers that may have served as ancient Egypt's most advanced observatory. Recent thermal scans reveal narrow shafts piercing the temple's thick walls, perfectly positioned to frame specific stars during their heliacal risings. One such corridor aligns with Sirius' appearance, the event that heralded the Nile's annual flood. others target the winter solstice sunset, allowing priests to confirm the sun's turnaround by watching light retreat along marked floor grooves. The most controversial discovery is a hidden upper chamber with a slit window framing the pole star Thuban, used not for navigation, but to calibrate the temple's celestial alignments as Earth's axial wobble gradually shifted stellar positions over centuries. The priest astronomers who operated this system left no manuals, but artifacts tell their story. Excavations uncovered cubit rods marked with stellar declinations and diagonal star clocks, tools for translating celestial movements into ritual timing. A cache of Ostraka pottery shards found near the sacred lake contains records of lunar eclipses dated to specific hours, proving Karnak's astronomers could predict these events centuries before Greek or Babylonian scholars. The real breakthrough came when researchers noticed peculiar notches carved into column capitals. When sunlight struck them at certain angles, they projected shadow patterns matching the hieroglyph for eternity onto adjacent walls. This wasn't just observation, it was celestial cryptography encoding cosmic principles into architecture. What makes Karnak unique is how it scaled astronomy into statecraft. The temple's orientation didn't just mark the solstice, it anchored Egypt's entire administrative calendar. Tax collections, coronations, and military campaigns were scheduled around its alignments, with the pharaoh's divine legitimacy tied to the sun's flawless performance. Even the temple's expansion followed celestial logic. Each new pharaoh added pylons along the solar axis, creating ever longer light channels that required recalculating alignments with near-impossible precision. When Thutmose Roman III shifted an obelisk's position by 2 cubits, he wasn't just building, he was recalibrating a cosmic machine. Modern technology continues to unveil Karnak's hidden layers. Ground-penetrating radar recently detected water channels beneath the hypostyle hall that may have served as reflective surfaces for stargazing, while AI analysis of reliefs has identified previously overlooked star clusters woven into religious scenes. The most haunting revelation, the temple's layout encodes the precession of the equinoxes, the 26,000-year wobble of Earth's axis, through subtle shifts in later editions. Karnak wasn't just a temple to the sun, it was a stone chronicle of time itself, built to outlast dynasties and speak to futures its creators would never see. As the solstice sun still floods those ancient corridors today, it illuminates not just carvings, but the indelible human urge to touch infinity. High atop Fajada Butte in New Mexico's Choco Canyon, 3 slabs of rock lean precariously against the cliff face, framing one of archaeology's most breathtaking and contentious celestial alignments. Known as the Sun Dagger Site, this unassuming configuration transforms twice a year into a precision solar instrument. On the summer solstice, a sliver of sunlight slices between the rocks, bisecting a spiral petroglyph carved into the cliff with razor-sharp accuracy. At winter solstice, twin daggers of light bracket the same spiral, while the equinoxes produce a single beam that pierces its center. These aren't coincidental light plays, they're the result of meticulous astronomical engineering by the ancestral Puebloans over 1,000 years ago, a feat that would require modern engineers, laser levels, and CD software to replicate. The controversy surrounding the site stems from its fragility. In the early 1980s, a surge in tourism led visitors to scramble up the butte, dislodging the critical slabs by mere millimeters. That infinitesimal shift was enough to distort the solar alignments irreparably. Today, the site is off-limits, viewable only through telescopes from the canyon floor, sparking debates about preservation versus public access. Critics argue the restrictions are excessive, pointing to reconstructed sightlines showing the dagger effect still occurs, albeit less precisely. But archaeologists counter that even minor disturbances could erase this delicate astronomical clock forever. The tension highlights a painful truth: we're forced to study Choco's celestial genius through photographs and simulations, never again able to witness firsthand what its creators intended. What makes the sun dagger revelations even more astonishing is how they rewrite our understanding of ancestral Puebloan science. The spirals aren't just artistic flourishes, they're mathematical models. Smaller ancillary carvings nearby track the moon's 18.6-year cycle, with light patterns marking lunar standstills. One hidden spiral, visible only during certain lunar events, suggests the site served as a multidimensional calendar, harmonizing solar and lunar cycles. This complexity mirrors celestial knowledge found in contemporaneous Mayan and European sites, despite the Puebloans having no known contact with either culture. Theories about the site's purpose range from the practical to the profound. Some researchers believe it helped time crop plantings in the arid canyon, where missing the optimal window could mean starvation. Others see it as a cosmic classroom where priest astronomers taught celestial mechanics to initiates. The most haunting interpretation comes from Pueblo oral traditions, which describe the spirals as portals where sunbeams carried prayers to the spirit world. This spiritual dimension gains credibility from the site's acoustics. Chanting near the slabs produces eerie echoes that bounce off the canyon walls, creating an otherworldly resonance during solar alignments. Modern technology offers tantalizing clues about what we've lost. Laser scans reveal the slabs were likely positioned using counterweights and scaffolds, a staggering engineering feat for a culture without metal tools. Spectral analysis shows traces of ochre pigment in the spirals, suggesting they once blazed red during solstice events. Most poignantly, time-lapse photography proves the daggers still appear, just faintly, like a fading echo of the brilliant displays ancestral sky watchers once witnessed. As the last unaltered sunlight daggers dance across those ancient spirals in restricted solitude, they remind us that some celestial conversations between stone and sky were meant to be private, whispered across centuries to those patient enough to listen. Beneath the turquoise waters off Japan's Yonaguni Island lies a sprawling labyrinth of terraces, steps, and angular formations that have ignited one of marine archaeology's most heated debates. Discovered in 1986 by divers, the Yonaguni Monument's flat plains and sharp 90-degree angles seem too precise to be nature's handiwork, yet that's exactly what mainstream geologists argue. The controversy centers on whether these 25-meter-tall structures are the ruins of an ancient civilization with celestial alignments, or merely an extraordinary example of natural sandstone erosion. Proponents of the man-made theory point to uncanny features that defy geological explanation. The monument's terrace formations stack with near-perfect symmetry, while a distinct triangular platform aligns with the sunrise during the summer solstice, an alignment seen in sacred sites worldwide. Nearby, a pair of massive megaliths nicknamed the Twin Rocks frame the setting sun during the winter solstice, their positioning matching astronomical markers found in Okinawan folklore describing sun gates built by the lost Mu civilization. Alternative archaeologists highlight tool marks and carvings resembling Qaeda script, an ancient Ryukyuan writing system, though mainstream scholars dismiss these as coincidental scratches from fishing nets or natural fractures. The geological counterargument is equally compelling. Sandstone in this region fractures along natural plains due to tectonic stress, creating angular formations that mimic human construction. Marine geologists demonstrate how strong currents could carve the monument's stepped appearance over millennia, with oxidization patterns confirming submerged erosion. Skeptics note the absence of pottery, tools, or other cultural artifacts typically found at man-made sites, though divers have recovered a single stone implement of disputed origin near the base. What makes Yonaguni particularly fascinating are the celestial claims woven into alternative theories. Professor Masaki Kimura, the monument's most vocal researcher, mapped alignments between its structures and specific stars visible around 10,000 BC, a time when sea levels were low enough for the site to be above water. His surveys suggest the main platform's corners point to Orion's belt and Sirius during key seasonal transitions, patterns seen in other ancient Pacific cultures. Mainstream archaeologists counter that these alignments fall within margins of error expected from random chance, lacking the precision of verified astronomical sites. The debate takes on new dimensions when considering regional legends. Yonaguni's oral traditions speak of a sunken city called Dunam, destroyed by earthquakes, while Yukuan creation myths describe gods descending from constellations to build stone cities. These stories, recorded centuries before the monument's discovery, tantalizingly parallel the site's features. Modern technology adds fresh clues. Sonar scans reveal geometric patterns extending beyond the visible structures, and recent dives uncovered a carved stone resembling a turtle effigy, a solar symbol in many Asian cultures. Whether natural wonder or lost astronomical complex, Yonaguni challenges our assumptions about prehistoric capabilities. If artificial, it would rewrite Pacific history as the world's oldest submerged structure with celestial ties. If natural, it remains a breathtaking example of how geology can mirror human artistry. As currents continue to shape these enigmatic stones, they whisper the same question to divers and scientists alike: where does nature end and human genius begin? The answer may lie not in dichotomies, but in the untold stories still buried beneath the waves. Cresting the windswept plateau of Wyoming's Big Horn Mountains, the Medicine Wheel stretches across the high alpine tundra like a sacred spiderweb woven in stone. At first glance, this simple arrangement of limestone rocks, a central cairn connected by 28 spokes to an outer ring, seems humble compared to grander ancient monuments. Yet this unassuming circle holds celestial secrets that have sparked a century-long dialogue between archaeologists and Northern Plains tribes. The wheel's alignment isn't just terrestrial, it's a mirror of the summer sky, with specific spokes pointing toward the heliacal rising of key stars just before dawn. The most striking alignment targets the summer solstice sunrise, while other spokes frame the positions of Sirius, Aldebaran, and Fomalhaut during pivotal moments in the ceremonial calendar. For astronomers, these alignments suggest a sophisticated star compass dating back at least 700 years. For the Crow, Cheyenne, and other indigenous nations, the wheel was never merely an observatory, it's a living altar where the Earth whispers to the stars. The archaeological controversy centers on interpretation. Early 20th century surveys proposed the wheel functioned as a primitive celestial calendar, with the 28 spokes representing lunar cycles. Later researchers noted alignments matching the Medicine Stars, a constellation of celestial beings in Plains cosmology that rise in sequence to mark seasonal changes. One particularly contentious theory suggests the central cairn aligns with the pole star Polaris through a sightline to distant mountain peaks, allowing precise navigation. Tribal knowledge keepers offer a different lens. In Crow tradition, the wheel is Oshkish, the sacred circle of life, where the 28 spokes symbolize not just lunar days, but the 28 ribs of the buffalo, a sacred being whose movements once mirrored the stars' journeys. The solstice alignment doesn't merely mark a date, it signals when spirits walk closest to the living world during the annual sun dance ceremonies. What makes Big Horn unique is how these perspectives converge in unexpected ways. Modern archaeoastronomy confirms that certain alignments track the four stars indigenous oral histories describe as the chiefs who sit in the sky, stars that rise to govern specific seasons. The east-facing spoke, long used in vision quests, aligns with the summer solstice sunrise within a margin of error smaller than Stonehenge's famous alignment. Even the wheel's elevation matters. Perched at nearly 10,000 feet, it sits above atmospheric distortion, offering crystal-clear views of celestial events. Tribal elders have always known this, describing the site as a place where the sky comes down to touch the earth, where prayers travel more directly to the spirit world. The wheel's ongoing ceremonial use adds layers to its mystery. unlike excavated ruins closed behind glass, Big Horn remains an active sacred site where tribal members leave prayer bundles tied with tobacco and cloth. This living tradition preserved knowledge that archaeology only recently confirmed, like how certain spokes align with mountain peaks that in turn frame key stellar risings, creating a nested system of terrestrial and celestial markers. Controversy flared when researchers proposed the wheel might be 2,000 years older than estimated, based on stellar precession calculations. Tribal historians countered that their oral traditions already contained this timescale, recounting how the wheel was renewed rather than built, its knowledge passed down through countless generations. The most poignant lesson of Big Horn emerges not from debates over its age or precision, but from its endurance as a bridge between ways of knowing. On solstice mornings, when both astrophysicists and tribal youth gather to witness the sunrise alignment, the stones silently hold space for both star charts and sacred stories. The wheel's true genius may lie in its refusal to be categorized not just an observatory or shrine, but a testament to humanity's shared urge to map meaning onto the night sky. As the Milky Way arches over those ancient spokes, it reminds us that some truths shine brighter when seen through more than one lens. From the solstice-aligned stones of Stonehenge to the Venus-tracking windows of the Caracol, these 25 sites reveal a truth as vast as the night sky itself. Our ancestors didn't just observe the stars, they wove them into the very fabric of their existence. Every culture, every continent, every epoch shared this celestial hunger, transforming rocks and temples into dialogues with the cosmos. What's astonishing isn't just their precision, it's the diversity of their approaches. The Maya encoded planetary cycles into pyramid staircases, while the builders of Nabta buried cattle beneath star-aligned megaliths, blending astronomy with reverence for life itself. The Neolithic sky watchers of Newgrange funneled sunlight into tombs like cosmic midwives, and the Khmer architects of Angkor Wat mirrored constellations in temple layouts with mathematical grace. These weren't primitive guesses, they were acts of genius achieved without telescopes or computers, yet rivaling modern accuracy. Yet for every alignment we've decoded, a dozen mysteries linger. Were the spirals of Knowth tomb ancient star maps or something deeper? Did the Yonaguni monuments truly track constellations 10,000 years ago, or are we seeing patterns in nature's artistry? The greatest loss isn't the stones themselves, it's the knowledge that vanished with the cultures who raised them. Imagine the oral traditions, the priest astronomers' teachings, the rituals that turned celestial events into living stories. What breakthroughs might they have achieved if their lineages survived? The Intihuatana stone's spiritual precision, the medicine wheel's silent star language, these sites whisper that astronomy wasn't just a science to our ancestors, but a sacred bridge between earth and heaven. So as the stars continue their ancient dance above these monuments, the real question isn't just what they built, it's why. Was it practical, guiding harvests and navigation? Spiritual, seeking communion with the divine, or something we've yet to fathom? Perhaps the answer lies in your own gaze upward. Next time you see the Milky Way, think of the builders who traced its path in stone and ask yourself, which of these sites speaks to you most? Is it the solar theatrics of Abu Simbel, the lunar riddles of Casa Rinconada, or the untold stories still buried beneath jungles and waves? The conversation across millennia isn't over. It's waiting for your voice to join it. Share your wonder, your theories, your favorite celestial puzzle in the comments and keep looking up. After all, the night sky is the one archive humanity has always shared, and its pages are far from fully read.